Are you a musician in pain? Have you been told that if you get some exercise or do some movement that it's going to help your pain issues? Well, I know that story all too well myself. The question is, where do you begin? If you've never done any kind of movement practice or you've had only bad experiences with exercise, then how do you start this new part of your life trying to help your pain by doing movement that you just have no idea where to begin? Well, I get asked this question a lot. I am Dr. Rachel White-Galvin of Mind Felt Methods, and I help musicians perform without pain. And I have for you today the 5 movements that I think should be the foundation of any movement practice. So stay tuned and let's get started. So the first movement that I want to show you today is called a scap shrug. And this is a great movement for learning to, as we say, differentiate, so make different your shoulder blades and your ribs. Oftentimes we tend to train our shoulder blades to move with our ribs and vice versa, so that there isn't a lot of individuality between those two parts of ourselves. So this is a great movement to learn how to move those things differently in your mind and in your body. So you can do this against a wall, standing against a wall, or you can do this in a plank position. I'm going to show you plank, but you can also just imagine me standing up and having my hands against a wall. So here we go. You're in a plank position. You can go feet wider if you would like, or you can go feet together. It's whatever is best for you. And so I'm going to go wider just because I like it in this very moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the floor away, and then I'm going to lower my chest down, bring my shoulder blades together, and then press the floor away again. And then we're just going to go back and forth that way. Really, really, really trying to keep my ribs, my whole torso tight, and letting just the shoulder blades do the movement. And I'm not bending my elbows, trying to kind of fake my way through the movement. So common faults that you see are people just bending their elbows, thinking they're moving, or they might sag. And more of the movement is coming from the middle part of themselves instead of true shoulder blade movement. So now the next movement that I want to show you is something called, what I call, windshield wipers. Windshield wipers, as far as an exercise, there are a ton of different kinds of windshield wipers to do. This is mine, but you can find all kinds of other fun things. So please excuse me, I gotta unhook myself here to be able to show you this one. So this one is nice and it's comfortable, and it really is approximating what a baby would do. So you're laying here on your back, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your feet. And if you've done any amount of yoga, then you might be familiar with Happy Baby, and that's where we're starting here. So just here, you can rock back and forth. And then once you start to feel comfortable with that, then you can start to play with where your elbow is in relation to your knee. So you can start to take your elbow on one side in and out of your knee, and then you can do it on the other side. And then once you get comfortable enough with that, then you can do both. You can switch your elbows and your knees together, or you can do them, they both go out and they both go in. And it's finding just some nice movement in your hip joints, because if you're a musician, you probably do a lot of sitting or a lot of standing, and in more static kind of positions. So this is just a nice way to find some movement in your hip joints and kind of play with the position of your elbows and your knees, which aren't always that clear for people in their minds anyway. So give that one a try.
For the third movement that I'd like to show you, they are called Cuban Rotations. And this is another movement, let's say, that plays off what I showed you in the first movement. So that was all the way back a couple minutes ago with the scap shrugs. This time we are playing again with that shoulder blade relationship to the ribs, but in a little bit different direction. So you can have some weights. If you want weight, that's great. It does not have to be heavy weight. A couple pounds, if that much, will do. You can also do this without weight. And if you don't have handy dandy little dumbbells, you could totally grab a couple of soup cans and do that too, or water bottles, whatever. Just something that gives you a tiny bit of resistance. And like I said, you don't have to have any weight at all too. That's also an option. So the way this is gonna work, and I'll show you without the weights first. The way it works is you're gonna go into a kind of a goal post position. And from here, you're gonna keep this line of your upper arm, and you're going to allow your hand to lower, and then you're going to bring it back up. So you'll be doing this with both sides. So you lower them down, and then bring them back up. And what I want you to feel here is that your shoulder blade can actually move up a little bit, and then it moves down as you do this movement. So as your hand goes down, your shoulder blade moves up, and then as your hand goes up, your shoulder blade goes down. And you can even put a hand there to kind of help give you a little bit of sense of that. And then you can use the weights. So I'm going to show you what it looks like from behind. You can also do this movement sitting in a chair or standing up if sitting like I am on the floor is not comfortable for you. So here's what it looks like from behind. 2 weights, and I let them come down as far as comfortable. Don't strain yourself. Less is more. And hopefully, maybe you can see that my shoulder blades move up as my hands come down, and as my hands go up, my shoulder blades go down. It's a fun little relationship. And you might notice that the more I do this, the lower my hands can get. The next movement I have for you is another movement lying on your back. And I like to call this movement pelvic rocks. It's very often in our culture that we really don't think about our pelvis very much, but your pelvis is a big part of you. So this movement is great for just kind of re-engaging a connection with your pelvis. And this is going to be great for any kind of spine pain that you might have, or anything like that. Back pain, hip pain, whatever. Okay, so you're going to start by lying on your back with your knees bent and your feet standing. And your hands, you can lie them on your stomach if you like, or you can lie them on the floor. It's up to you. But what we're going to do is you're going to pull your belly in and lift your tailbone slightly from the floor and press your low back into the floor. So low back gets pressed into the floor here. And then you're going to go the other direction. So you'll let that go in your belly, and then you're going to push your belly out and tilt your tailbone down towards the floor. And now this will make a little more space underneath your low back. And so go back and forth in this way. And don't do anything extreme here. If you feel a little niggle of pain, just go less. Don't completely stop the movement, just do a little bit less. And see here how much you can get the movement of your pelvis, so this moving, rocking this direction, forward and backward. See how much of that you can move from your belly and not your back muscles. Okay, so the fifth and final movement that I want to show you today is called the bear crawl. And maybe if you've done some fitness classes, you've played with this one a little bit. It's a great movement. If you're a musician, it is going to put you on your hands. So if you have any concern about your wrists,
please heed those concerns for yourself. Listen to yourself, listen to your body, and do what you feel is right for you. I will say that sometimes if you haven't been using your hands and your wrists a lot, you're gonna get some signals that say danger, maybe some pain signs about your wrist, but I encourage you just to try a little bit. Don't push through pain. Do as much as you can without the pain, but don't think that the pain means you have to just never do this exercise. You can gradually work into it, and it actually will improve your wrists over time. That being said, don't try and do 5 minutes of this in one go. So, bear crawl. You can start in an A-frame, down dog, whatever you want to call it. Your legs can be as straight as you can be. They can be comfortably here. For some people, their knees might need to be a little bit more bent, and that's fine. But just aim to get your hips a little bit higher than your head, as is comfortable. So as you're here, and your feet can be further out if you'd like, or they can be closer in. It's totally up to you. So you start in this A-frame, and all I want you to do to start is start by lifting a hand, lifting a foot, and feel what the rest of you does, the rest of your body does, as you lift that hand or foot. And so you can kind of play with this way, and then you don't have to lift very high. And then once you kind of figured that out for yourself, that feels pretty good, pretty comfortable, then you can start doing cross leg, diagonal leg hand relationship. So lift the right hand and the left foot, and then lift the left foot and the left hand, and start to kind of play with that. And then once that feels comfortable, then you can start to walk. So you can go forwards, you can go backwards, go nice and slow. Really feel every part of the movement here, how your hands and your feet roll off the floor to walk. Feel how you can put your weight into your arms and your legs as you walk. And this is one of the best core exercises I know, in all honesty. Sit-ups, bear crawl. Thanks so much for watching today, and if you liked this video, please hit subscribe below. I again am Dr. Rachel White Galvin from Mind Felt Methods, helping musicians play without pain.